Welcome to the summary of Lesson 12 about the rules of definition. Before we start, let's have a short supplication. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma akhrijna min zulumatil wahm wa akrimna binuril fahm. Allahumma aftah alayna abwaaba rahmatik wanshur alayna khazaina ulumik برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين والحمد لله رب العالمين. So in the previous sessions that we have already dealt with the first 10 lessons, and just in the last session we talked about the definition and its types. In this lesson, let's examine the rules of definition, while bearing in mind that a good definition must be correct in meaning as well as in form. That's why logic gives us 5 rules to achieve this. So, before we proceed, let us not forget the definition of definition. So when we say definition, it is an expression that presents the essence of a thing that we can clearly conceive, so that we can clearly conceive it and distinguish it from other things. So first rule is comprehensiveness and exclusivity. That is the equality of concepts. Here, the definitions must apply to all and only all reference of the defined. When we say comprehensiveness, it should include all reference. And when we say exclusive, it means to say it excludes all non-reference. Okay. So here are incorrect examples. For example, for more universal, defining human as walker animal. Why? Because it includes non-animals, non-humans, I mean, because there are animals which are also walking. And less universal also when we define human as educated animal. Why? Because it excludes many humans who are not educated. The second rule is that it should be clearer and more known, which means that the definitions must be clearer conceptually and better known to the addressee than the defined. So here are examples of here are incorrect examples. For example, we equally clear example of something that is equally clear. When we define odd as not even, that odd is not even. We think that we try to define, or in fact it is just the same. And another incorrect example is when it becomes more ambiguous. For example, defining fire as a stoican-like soul. So the description or the definition is even more ambiguous than the fire itself. The third rule is about conceptual difference. It means to say not merely verbal. What does it mean? It means that the definitions and the defined must differ conceptually, not just words. So here is an incorrect example. When we say defining human as humankind, So it's actually the same, it's just different in words. Same concept but different words. The fourth rule is that it should be it should have no vicious circle, meaning no circularity. What does it mean? The definitions must not be defined by the defined, directly or indirectly. Otherwise, it is defining something by itself. So here is an incorrect example. It shows a circular definition. For example, when we say even is a number that is not odd. And when we try to define odd, we say a number that is not even. So actually, when we do that one, when we define even in such a way, then it is not enough because within the definition, we need to define odd and vice versa. Okay, and number 5, about clear and unambiguous terms. So no polysemy, please. There's no place for polysemy here. This rule means that the terms used in a definition must be clear, unambiguous, and not multiple meaning. So we need to avoid common polysemic words unless the meaning is determined. So here is an incorrect example using a polysemic word by defining plant as a plant has many uses. So we don't know which one is being defined. Plant as living organism or factory or factory. Why? Because the definition has many uses could apply to either plant as a living organism or as factory. So here are examples of good definitions. Complete definition is to say, for example, human being is rational animal. So here it includes the next genus, that is animal, and near differentia, which is rational. Now, here is an example of incomplete definition when we say human being is rational. Why? Because it includes only the near differentia, which is rational. Now, here is an example of complete description. Human being is a laughing animal. So here it includes genus, that is animal, and particular accidental, which is laughing. And here is an incomplete description by saying human being is laughing. Why? Because it includes only the particular accidental, which is laughing. So, by the way, what is the purpose of definition? We can identify two. One, a definition aims to present a clear and correct conception of the defined. And number two, definition distinguishes the defined from other things perfectly. So when we say a good definition, it must include all and only the reference. Second, it must use clearer and more known terms. Number three, it must differ conceptually from the defined term. Number four, it must avoid circularity. And number five, it must use clear and ambiguous terms. So as a tip in identifying good definition, we say that a good definition is the key to correct understanding and sound reasoning. So to summarize, let us take note that to give a correct definition, we must remember the 5 rules. 1. Comprehensiveness and exclusivity. 2, clearer and more known. Number 3, conceptual difference. Number 4, no vicious circle. And number 5, clear and unambiguous terms. So we need to follow these rules to define wisely and correctly. So next meeting, we will deal with lesson 13 about proof or burhan and dialectics or jadal. Next meeting, insha'Allah ta'ala. Thank you and see you then.